Come on, dude. Give me a break.
I've been hearing a lot of people talk about this show, Echo. Didn't really expect it to be anything of any substance, but everyone is either talking news about it or claiming it's bad, and I'm like, you know what? There are some people who are just so done with anything Disney and Marvel that they'll just be completely turned off to something that the company puts out and deem it low quality. Can't really blame them, but I really wanted to give the show a chance so I could judge it for myself. So without further ado, let's explore the adventure of Echo. What in the Frost Giant Lord of the Rings is going on here? So we got some, wood elf people? Okay. Then a woodpecker comes along. Then their cave starts to crash down on their heads after they drink the galaxy water. All the dickless men and nippleless women start freaking out because I guess since they live underground or wherever this is, they can still die with things crashing down on them even though they're made of wood. They emerge from out of the ruins. Then their wooden skin starts peeling off. Then they become human. Oh my. Why would they then still have markings on their face when they have it nowhere else on their bodies? Oh, they do. Okay, never mind. So this woman's like, follow me, everyone. And everyone's like, all right, you got the biggest ass, so we will. Actually, no. She does. Makes more sense to follow her since it's easier for people to see her from behind. Anyways, these two girls are speaking in sign language, and they're telling the story of the first Choctaw people.
And that's the story of the first Choctaw people.
So this girl is, wow, she's the main character, and to be honest with you, I have a hard time remembering what her name is. That's how boring she is, by the way. Everyone says her name, and I still walked away after watching 5 episodes of this, the entire first season, and I still don't remember her name. I actually have to look it up. Maya, that's her name. So here's Maya and Bonnie. See, I remember Bonnie's name. Bonnie's her best friend. They claim that they're sisters, and they'll always be sisters. Oh, how cute. Meanwhile, their grandparents are sitting around the fire with their daughter and her husband. You know, that one Native American guy that's always in everything, where they have a Native American role. Story takes place in 2007, Tamaha, Oklahoma. This woodpecker bird is always around, and the grandmother sees it as some sign for something. So, oh my god, are you freaking serious? I just said... Wow, you've got to be kidding me. Maya, Jesus Christ, this is bad. Maya. Okay.
Wow, you're stupid.
Maya says that she wants hot chocolate for her and Bonnie. So the mother's like, we're all out of hot chocolate, but we can go to the store and get some. The grandmother's worried, and as the daughter goes to the store with granddaughter, they get into an accident.
Not the brightest bulb in the tanning bed.
I like the look on the mother's face. She's like, bitch, we gonna die. So do you not have emergency brakes in your car? This is why certain people, I don't understand how it is they got their license. People who fly airplanes, trucks, all that stuff, you are taught how to use these things and what to do when driving and operating a vehicle like this. The moment she realizes that the brakes aren't working, look how much space she had. She's pressing over and over again. Look how much road is in front of you. That is more than enough time for you to pull up the freaking handbrake, and not even that. Like, it is supposed to be second nature for drivers that you swerve off. If you know you're going into oncoming traffic, especially with your child in the car, you swerve off to the side and try to hit into something else, if not for it to save your life, to avoid the whole insurance thing. She didn't have to die, which she does, but no handbrake is used. She's just like, oh no, whatever am I gonna do? And her child has enough time to ask her through sign language, what's wrong, mom? And the mother's like, oh no, you're not paying attention. Why are you paying attention to your child in this situation, bro? Like, this part just gave me so much stress because it was unnecessary. Like, usually in these superhero origin stories, you see the parents die and it's usually a really awful situation because it's definitely not the parents or the child's fault. This is definitely 100% the mother's fault. I'm sorry. Due respect for the dead. She's a fucking idiot.
Dummy.
So she loses her leg, and the grandmother blames her son-in-law because I guess he was in a gang or something, and someone cut the brakes to get at him. He doesn't seem the least bit broken up about his wife dying. Then they have to tell this child that her mother is dead. And she's like, is she gonna be okay? It was my fault because I asked her to go to the store, which was very sad. So anyway, father takes his daughter to New York. And honestly, this freaking episode is just flying through. We see her struggling. She's deaf and no one wants to make friends. Her father and her bond. She says she wants to do what he does, which is like violence and all that jazz. And he's like, I want a different life for you while I have you watching everything that I'm doing that makes you want to be like me. Then she walks into her dad's place and finds out that her dad has been killed by a freaking ninja assassin. Why did he roll? What was the point of him rolling over? What was he doing? What is this? That's using so much energy. Her father's like, don't call the police. I'm already gone. She buries her dad. Bonnie's been sending her texts and she just ignores her best friend. Then she starts becoming destructive. And this man, who was revealed to be Kingpin, who I guess owns the cops, constantly gets her out of trouble. I can already predict when he's giving her the talk about how his father died too, that he's the one who's probably behind her father's death. So once she hears that Kingpin's father died when he was 12, and him telling her she needs to find good avenues, constructive avenues to place her anger into, she gets interested. She's like, ooh, what do I do? So he puts her on jobs, and the other guys are not too happy about this because it took them years to get where they are. There's this fight scene after, of course, a security guard decides to feel her up, which makes no goddamn sense. I feel like they do that on purpose because she's a girl character and you gotta show her going through the groping phase. And I'm like, dude, if this guy knows that these people are with Kingpin, maybe he doesn't know this is his daughter, but as big as Kingpin is, really? Well, anyway, whatever. Let's just give it the benefit of the doubt. Seemed like an easy win to me because Kingpin will do anything for his daughter. Then there's a fight sequence. I swear to goodness. They go to bust some heads and not at any time I have seen throughout this show does it showcase what's her face either utilizing her deafness to her advantage or it being an issue. I swear there are times when she's falling asleep and we hear a car horn honk and we're to believe she woke up because of that. I don't know, just weird things, man. At least when it comes to the choreography, there's not a whole bunch of jump cuts everywhere. The choreography is not the best, but at least we can actually see people fighting. I do like this scene when this guy comes out and the way that they filmed that was actually pretty cool. It went from first person or third person to first person to third person again. Of course, even though the guy is like way bigger than her, she's struggling, and then I don't know how she has this kind of strength, but she breaks his... It would have made more sense if she just strangled him. Because I guess, you know, it's one of these type of movies, assassin movies. And they have loads of movies where girls are much smaller than guys and they're still able to beat the crap out of them. I think it's cool when they do a sort of John Wick situation. And we've seen John Wick in cases where he's fighting people and he's having a hard time too for people who are out of his weight class. That makes it more believable. It feels like there's actual stakes there, even though there really isn't. Man, that security logo is sharp and crisp as hell. So then, I'm guessing Daredevil. Never watched it. What is he doing in here? What was the whole purpose of him even being in this? Oh wait, is this one of those cases where we have to have watched the other things to get this show? I hear he's a favorite, and he's really good at what he does, right? He is blind, I believe, and... right? Hold on, let me just check that, just to make sure. Pretty sure he's blind. Matt Murdock, really? His last name's Murdock? Radioactive waste, really? He gets blinded from radioactive waste. What is it with these characters? Anyways, he comes in, and from what I know, people love this character. Tell me how someone like this who sees her as a bad guy is able to stand up to Daredevil. She doesn't have the experience that he has, and she's a villain in his eyes, and he is holding back, I guess? So she's like, oh, let me try to hurt you and kill you. And she is going toe-to-toe with Daredevil. Now, I never watched Daredevil, so maybe I'm talking on my ass here. And my two tails are not enough to fan the bullshit away. But I'm just gonna take a guess that Daredevil and her in the same room wouldn't last very long. But this fight lasts a while, and she is able to keep up with him. First of all, her swings, like when she kicks right there, it doesn't look like she's actually doing anything. Look at his face. It feels like this guy is trying to spar with her, like they know each other. I'm half expecting that to be the case. It feels like they're sparring and he knows her and he's trying to be like a mentor or something and is like, give me everything you got. But no, that's not the case. He then throws down a thing on her and then leaves. Is that something Daredevil does? He got rid and dispatched all the other villains, but he left her. Maybe because she's a girl. I don't know. I have no idea what the frick is going on here. And yeah, we never see him again. I mean, to be fair, it's not his show, but then what is the ever-loving point of putting him in here? Again, I'm watching this as a standalone. So if you're gonna have a whole other superhero in there, it has to make sense with the story. I hate when they do cameo stuff like this. Maybe they did this so they could justify putting him in the trailer or something, I'm guessing. But then I hate when they do these cameo stuff to draw people in, and the show is not that thing's show. It has nothing to do with her. Like, what? What a waste of time. And she would not have been able to keep up with someone like him with his expertise. That made no sense. And then she's constantly validated through this. I feel like this, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do a whole bunch of editing with this because this is just my thoughts right now. But I feel like this show was supposed to be some off-cuff video game. The show presents itself like a video game with a bunch of cutscenes. And the cutscene that we saw was you as a player that doesn't speak, that's deadpan, that has the dry personality of an old woman snatch or a scorched cat. And then you have cutscenes here where you're now supposed to make choices. And now the person, the NPC or the other character of the video game is telling you, wow, you didn't do so bad for a beginner.
None of my men have ever held their own with him like that. You did better than even I expected. And did you find the exercise of use to you?
She says immensely. He said none of my men who've been working with me for years have ever held their own against Daredevil like that. They didn't say Daredevils, they said him, but we know who it is. And she comes along and she's just extra special. Where is the experience? That's why I'm saying it feels like a video game. I've played umpteenth level of video games. It feels like GTA because this doesn't happen. There's no background to her having the training that she has. We know that he sort of trained her, but we don't really see any of that happening. This whole thing feels like a recap from something else. And we're 25 minutes in the first episode. So he's still training her. Her training is still starting. It's actually beginning. And she was able to hold her own against Daredevil? Daredevil can't be that good of a superhero, then I'm sorry. Then she says, when we find my father's killer, which Kingpin promised her he would deliver, she wants to be the one to deal with him. And so this whole first half of the episode is her trying to find the ninja assassin. Guess who the ninja assassin is? Oh God, I'm so done. I'm so done. You bet? Anybody watching this for the first time, you want to bet that you're never going to see him again in this? So Hawkeye, I guess he has his own show too. I forgot about that. His your boss is the one that ordered or that killed your father.
You and I were the same. When you're filled with rage, it makes you blunt. It can be used and manipulated. Your boss wanted your father dead. Your boss.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing because anything's actually funny. I'm just laughing because this feels surreal. Anyway, I'm guessing Hawkeye killed her father? So then she's dressed up like a goth dominatrix. And she sees Kingpin, but it feels like something's missing because he's already beaten up and looks like he got blown up or something. And I'm guessing this is a continuation from something else. We're missing huge chunks of information here. That's why I said all of this feels like a freaking cutscene recap from a video game. And he sees the gun and he's like, we're family. And she's like, pal, motherfucker. 5 months later. So she has a bullet wound from God knows what. And she's like, oh no, it's really bad. So let me go on my freaking cross country thing with her motorcycle while she's almost dying. They filmed that in a way that seems as though she woke up from the sound. It's possible she could have woken up for whatever reason. Like, you forget this character is deaf. I get it. Deaf people can live their lives every day and adapt, but they make the deafness part of her identity. So, and they do that with all the superheroes. So we're supposed to believe that, okay, she's deaf. She's gonna have some realistic challenges, right? Nope. Nope, that never happens. She starts having these visions about her ancestors, I guess. because what else could they be? She misses her family, but she doesn't want to have anything to do with them. That's when she meets Biscuit, her cousin that she hasn't seen since they were kids, and he's so happy to see her because she had just forgotten about everybody. Soon as I saw the freaking dog, this little baby that looks like an Australian cattle dog, I immediately looked to see if the dog dies in this series. Thank God it does not, at least not for season 1, because I swear to goodness, I could not watch any further if he did. So main character, I forgot her name again. I'm not even gonna look it up this time. I don't really care. Says she doesn't want anyone to know she's here. She spies on Bonnie, who is a firewoman now, and you could tell she misses her, but she doesn't want to be a part of anyone's life again. She goes to the skating rink, which used to be her father's old skating rink. What are those things? Oh wow, they have these? Well, I feel like an idiot. Anyway, so she goes to talk to her uncle. The manager guy doesn't want to have anything to do with her and is like, nah, get out of here. But her uncle says, nah, it's fine. While manager guy is seen texting someone about her presence. Uncle doesn't want to get involved in whatever she's in, even though he's still involved in questionable stuff too. He gets a mortician friend to help her with her wound that already looks infected. Gross. When she has a private talk with her uncle, she wants revenge. And he's like, dude, you need to go see your grandmother. She finds out that you're here and you didn't come to see her. She's going to be very heartbroken. But all main character cares about is herself, even though she's putting her family in danger by being here and doing what she's doing. She's on business. And it's revealed at the end of episode 1 that Kingpin is still alive. I don't know how. This guy is the same guy who played Vic Hoskins in Jurassic World, a franchise where guns don't affect anything, specifically dinosaurs. So maybe he took some of that immunity over from that franchise into this one. The rest of the show features every now and then all these women from ancient times, the ancestors of main character, that would unlock their powers. See, this woman was losing the game. Then she got some powers, and she's like, oh my god, and this was filmed so badly. Turns out, look at that. I won the game with my powers, which is freaking cheating. Ew. And then intermittently, main character starts having those visions too. And she's so selfish, she knows that what she's doing is dangerous, but gets her little cousin involved in it. The grandmother knows Maya's back in town, and she doesn't want her anywhere near Biscuit because she's a bad influence. So Biscuit helps her pull a heist on the freaking train, and it would have been so funny if she busted her ass. She locates the ammunitions for Fisk's men, Kingpin's dudes, while her cousin tries to keep up with the train. So as she is jumping through, her leg gets crushed by the mechanism of the train. And it's her prosthetic leg. How lucky. Can you imagine if it was the other leg? That would have been hilarious as hell. So she can't push it off because, of course, it's a huge piece of machinery. Would have been interesting to see how she could handle the situation by removing her prosthetic leg, still being a badass, being able to roll around and get away on one leg, making it more suspenseful. But they don't go that route. You want to know what they do? Which I did not expect, and honestly killed the whole show for me. She has a vision because her life's in danger of all her ancestors. Oh my god. So she has powers. I tell you, it plays like a freaking video game. And now she has super strength to push it aside. She's like, oh my god, my hand. Then it has a freaking cooldown time. Then right before they get into a tunnel, oh no, she does a badass move and she's like, oh, slow-mo, baby. I'm in the bed of the truck. If she needed a getaway or a way to get off the train, she didn't need to have him risk his life running alongside it and almost colliding into the freaking tunnel. She could have just rolled off because she's that badass that she could do that and not get hurt. But oh well. The guy who's taken over Kingpin's operation gets the new shipment of the firearms or whatever it is, and they see a bomb, but it's too late, and it blows up the entire munition hardware store. Oh no. So this guy's scared because he's like, oh great, what did she do? Now these guys are gonna want war with us. Meanwhile, the only reason this wench stops by to see her grandfather is because she needs him to build her a new leg. He's able to give her a temporary one. Then he tells her some stuff about how the gods, the original Choctaw beings, that her grandmother could trace her ancestry back to the initial god woman. Okay. Again, her uncle tells her, what you're doing is putting all your loved ones in danger. The people you love are the ones that are going to get hurt. And she's like, I don't care. I am convinced that Echo, or this person, is a villain because there is nothing about her that screams likable or hero. Then she discovers, oh, I can shoot guns really well too because I have an ancestor that was a sharpshooter because she got powers from her ancestor, even though guns were a thing. Never mind. So they do tell the backstory of that ancestor. And her father was telling her, this ancestral woman, that you can't be like us because women are life givers and men are life takers. And she's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm a warrior too. They'll see me not as they think I should be. They will see me as I am. The young woman sees that her father has walked into some traps and then she senses something. She gets a whole bunch of powers too. And I do like the scene when it goes from the old-timey music and transitions into the audio that we'd be hearing if we were there. and the screen widens. That was very good. So she gets a power, and even though her father and them are way more experienced, she's able to stand out there being a very big target and very obvious, but nobody can hit her, and she hits everyone. Her father's like, yeah, badass. Yeah, baby, I have powers. Why is it all the women don't have powers, though? If the women have powers like this, they're passed down from their ancestors and unlock when they're in danger or when they really need them, why would there even be a situation where women weren't as high ranked as the males or even higher? Because they have those powers that would make them stronger. Weird. So at least we get a segment where our friend over here, the ancestor, distracts her long enough for her to get some chloroform to her face. She's brought to the skating rink and held hostage for the bounty. Her leg got unscrewed, and at least the villains are nice enough to put her leg right beside her. Bonnie goes to see what's wrong because someone let it spill in the stupidest way that Maya was here. I'm trying to use her name so I don't forget it. When she goes in, Uncle Dude is like, oh, it's not a good time because they had to let him go to make him convince her to leave. But they can talk sign language, so he's trying to tell her, you need to call the cops. You need to get out of here. So she's like, all right. And this idiot goes outside and doesn't get in her vehicle, but decides to use whatever kind of hell cell phone that is to call the cops out there. Is she stupid?
Dispatch, Mr. Pope.
That's what she gets. I swear to God, these characters are so dumb, it hurts. So Bonnie is thrown inside where she now sees her supposed best friend she hasn't seen in a long time. See? That's what you get. Now all your friends are in danger. And then check this out. Turns out that her friend over here had a hidden knife in her shoe, so she's able to set herself free. Why didn't you do that before? So they have a mini argument, and Bonnie's like, I tried reaching out to you, yada yada. And then this main character, Maya, is like, I didn't want to disrupt your life, blah blah blah. She just cut everyone out because blah blah blah. And Bonnie's like, you can send one message and blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. But I just wanted to put the blah 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 segment in because this might be important later, because our little main character here is a freaking hypocrite. So main character frees her best friend, and the bad guys come upon what's-his-face calling them, expecting the bounty money, but he keeps harassing them about it, which is something that's going to get him killed, and ultimately does because he's an idiot. Meanwhile, not only is this character a badass fighter, doesn't require years of experience to learn fighting, can also make anything, like guns, out of skating rink tools in a matter of freaking minutes, like under 10 minutes. Oh my lord, I cannot. Not only does she now have super freaking powers on top of her being super strong and able to fight super well, but now she can also construct anything, engineer anything she needs to when the occasion arises. This feels so contrived as hell. You've ever had those people that you play with and they're annoying as hell and you're playing a game with them and it's like, okay, so I shot you. And then the other kid is like, yeah, but now I have like super tough skin, so you can't shoot me and I can get right back up. And we're like, no, dude, you're dead. Like, we shot the other kids. They're dead. That's how the game works. And he's like, no. Now I have super skin. I can shoot you back. And then you're like, okay, I dodge. We use radioactive stuff to spill on you. Well, I like radiation. I eat it and I can bust it out my ass and then the whole world dies. Okay, then we go to another planet. I go to those planets and eat them. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Y'all ever play with someone like that and they're fucking annoying? I swear to God, I have PTSD from that crap. Stupid ass kid. Anyway, main character's like, oh my God, I'm main character. I'm like super powered and like super beastly and shit. Check me out. Oh my God, look at that. Just kidding. This guy ends up dying, just like I said, because he's a freaking idiot. Then while Bonnie and Uncle over here are tied up, main character blasts music, and in the laser tag area, she's like, check me out. All you men, I'm like super strong. But then it shows her having her ancient powers being used. What is even the point of this? What is the point of the ancient powers used from the ancestors? What if you wanted to do an ancestral thing, why couldn't you make it something that could inspire her to be better? Why do you have to make her a super skilled fighter that's better than everybody else, regardless of the experience and exposure? But then you have to also give her powers, but then also give her super genius engineering capabilities. I'm like, bro, pick a lane. Even Black Widow wasn't that bad. Like, come on. It's like she's 60 different superheroes rolled up into one. Then someone calls and lets them go, and we know exactly who it is. So the main character's like, look, don't worry. I won't let anyone hurt you. A little bit late for that. They already did? What does it matter with this person? So then Uncle, of course, tries to remind her, look, people are gonna get hurt. And he's like, there's only one person that could have called off those dogs. And she's like, but I shot him in the face. The grandfather gives her a new leg with some ancestral armor and whatever. Anyway, like her helmet though. See, now I'm gonna go back and get a new helmet. I do like the matte texture. I have one with a big golden dragon running around the sides of it, and it's black, but it's shiny, and I do like the matte helmets a bit better, so I might get a new one. Why does she always look like perpetually sad? Wallpaper! Church! Some of the music's fire, though, in the show. She goes to the old playground or old place where she used to visit. Surprise, it's Kingpin. And, I don't know about you, but is he supposed to be like the super dangerous guy? I never get that vibe coming off of him, aside from him being big and imposing and wearing very puffy shoulder pads. The level of danger this man is supposed to represent feels very ineffectual and spurious. So they showcased 2008. Back in New York, the ice cream guy was mean to her, and he's like, I gotta handle something. Beats the shit out of the ice cream guy for bullying his daughter, and he calls his, I guess, hitman, butler, whatever they are, to get him a new coat because he doesn't want main character to see him this way. Unfortunately, she already does. And he thinks that she's gonna be afraid of him, and he's trying to convince her it's okay. She comes over and she kicks the guy and mimics exactly what he's doing. He's like, ooh, well, see there? That's why you're my child now. Fast forward, in 2021, when she still lived with him, he said the last bout of her test is that we can only trust each other. And he dismisses the interpreter so they can kill her. And that was the final lesson. Now that it's back, his only thing is that he wants her to come home. He put a contact in her eye, so now he can understand her and she can understand him. To be honest, this is pretty decent. She would get mad at him later for this because it's very sad to her that he never took the time, despite him being really busy, to learn how to sign with her. But my thing is, okay, fair enough, but you also never took the time to read lips, so I mean, this can kind of go both ways here, can't it? Especially given the kind of job you do, I mean, I would think that would be useful. But tomato, am I right? Apparently, I don't know what bullet was that she used, but his eye's fine. It just looks all raw on the sides, on the skin. Maybe money can buy you a new eye transplant or something. But from what it looks like, he could see and that eye's fine. So he's like, come back. She wants to be Queenpin, as she mentioned so cringily in another episode. And he's willing to give her the Empire if she comes home with him. If he really wanted to kill her, there were plenty of opportunities to do so. Her uncle thinks she's stupid, and he's like the only voice of reason she has. Anyway, Grandma's having these visions too, and so is main character. So bad that they don't take her to the hospital, even though Uncle doesn't know what's going on. He takes her to grandmother. Main character isn't very happy about that. Her face has gotten a lot bigger in like the last few episodes. I don't know what's going on there, but main character tells her grandmother about the dreams. The grandmother asks how long they've been happening, what she's seeing. So she begins to recount the origin for the Choctaw people. And I'm thinking to myself, if y'all have heard those stories your entire life, and the grown-ups have told you those stories, what makes you think that it's not just stuff that you're conjuring based on the memories of those stories? But anyway, Grandma says, I saw the same thing when I was giving birth to your mom. We were in the forest, and they took me out to the white man's hospital because they don't know what they're doing. The baby was in trouble, and she started having those same visions as well. So then, she gives birth successfully, and mentions that main character's mother had a gift. She was a healer. If this is the case, and her mother always had this gift, why didn't she heal her daughter's deafness? Awkward. I get the leg thing because she was dead, but like, really? No one's going to address that? A lot of hypocrisy with these characters. Here's the other hypocrisy that I foreshadowed and that I mentioned earlier. The grandmother tries to explain why she wasn't around, and of course her granddaughter's angry. The grandmother said it hurt to be around you. You're so much alike, you and my daughter. The show is called Echo because those generational people are echoing down from wherever to help us whenever we're in need. Why don't all Native American women or women in their tribe have that then? I'm pretty sure the grandmother has some of those healing powers too, or powers in general, so why couldn't she use it to help herself and her baby? Whatever. She says they help when you need them the most. And that frickin' mom. Damn, girl. Tear off chunks of flesh with them things. Anyway, I cannot look at her like this. Jesus. Okay, that's better. I'm sorry. It was intimidating as fuck. Okay, anyway, she said I needed you, and that was great. That makes sense. I completely see where she's coming from, but Bonnie needed you too, bro. Your family needed you too, and you basically did the same thing to them. But anyway, she's like, you chose yourself. So did you. So that went well. So grandmother stitches a suit, and we get another stupid, poignant scene with this girl and Kingpin where she fails to kill him. And I can understand why, because he was like a father to her. He reveals to her that he carries this around with him to remind him where he he came from. His father used to hurt his mom a lot, and one day he decided to save his mom and make it stop. He freed himself, so he's like, maybe you should free me too. And he gives her the hammer, but of course she doesn't use it. He gives her the option, come with me, I'm still waiting on your choice. This is literally all of their interactions. And you can see her having a hard time trying to cope with all the situations, trying to choose between her family and the man that raised her. And it's very sad because I do believe that there was a part of Kingpin that did love her. See, he signed that. So in the end, main character chooses her actual blood family. Fisk is not happy about this. What the hell was that? What are you playing football? Anyways, her adventure brings us to the 5th and final episode of the season. Lord have mercy. I gotta be honest. When I started the show, when it just like within the first few minutes, I was completely confused and wondering what people were talking about. I thought to myself, the show is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Has a good atmosphere. It's starting out well. And then the first episode felt rushed because it felt like a recap, or it was building up what was going to ultimately be the running story for the entirety of the season. I said, fine, you know what? Sure, they're setting everything up. Kind of feels a little rushed, but sure, why not? Kind of feels like exposition on some lower tier level, but why not? This girl's a super assassin. She has a mob boss father, is kind of going down the wrong path. She beats up bad guys. Okay, I guess. And then it just felt like somebody called their friends over. Their friends saw this person who invited their friends over writing a script. They all decided to smoke some forest rocks. And then their friends were like, what about this idea? And they all started tossing ideas in the pot. And that's what ultimately became this show. Look at her sociopathic looking ass, bro. Look at that shit. That is a child that needs to be locked away for some discipline. Like, she is a freaking, something's wrong upstairs. Remember Dexter? That's the vibe she's giving. Then she's like, oh my God, guess what? Pop! She brings the bird to her mother, who is a healer. And this is the part that really freaking gets me, because we were told that her mom is a healer. Remember what I just said not long ago? But now this is proof. So she lies and says the bird is hurt, it fell from the tree. So not only is she a freaking sociopath or psychopath, I think it's psychopath is more apt in this situation, but she's also a goddamn liar. She was growing up with her mom. This was before pre-Kingpin. Keep that in mind. Now I get it, she's looking at her father's footsteps and he's probably in with bad company too, so he's not that nice of a person either. But already doesn't make me like the character. You're hurting birds, you're hurting little animals, and we're supposed to like this character, and then you lie about it, you don't feel sorry. At least she brought it back to her mom. And the bird is suffering. You can tell the bird is suffering and is in a lot of pain. The mother takes this opportunity to teach her and lecture her. The bird is lying there in pain like,
I'm dying. Help me.
And they're having a whole full-out conversation while the bird is suffering. The animal is suffering. It doesn't matter if you have healing powers or not. You can heal the bird first and lecture your daughter later. Now I understand why the daughter's a freaking psychopath. The mother's probably not okay either. I mean, I don't know why this scene really angered me so much. And the mother's like, we don't harm living things. The Choctaw calls it this, it's an avatar and blah, blah, blah. And the reason for this bird is blah, blah, bitch. Sorry, I scared my dog. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. The bird is suffering. You can wait. This goes on for a while. The bird is like, it's writhing in pain. It's not even like the bird's dead already. It's writhing in pain, it is suffering. And you're taking this opportunity to not only tell her that it was wrong, but now you're gonna teach her the symbolism of the bird and a whole Native American history lesson. What are we learning from this? Now she's learned nothing. Okay, don't hurt it. But if I do hurt it, I can sit down for 5 minutes and teach people a lesson while the bird is internally screaming because it's internally bleeding. The daughter's like, we can fix it, right? Again, you can heal. You have this power all along, but you chose not to heal your daughter's deafness. Was it out of the realms of possibility or something for this story? I don't understand. You can straight up heal broken bones and internal bleeding and things that are wrong inside of little tiny bodies, but you cannot heal your daughter who is deaf and at a disadvantage in society. Right. Make this make fucking sense, because what parent with this kind of ability wouldn't do that? Unless you're a manipulative piece of shit who wants to keep your daughter daughter depended on you. Like, I just don't understand this story. Did people not think this through? They didn't even address it. Like, at least some other movies or shows would at least try to address why this is. Is it the whole God cancer argument where your deity can do anything except the things that you really need him to do? And then the excuse is, well, you know, the tree people or the deity or whatever the hell they worship is like, he tests us. Get off that bullshit. If you have this ability to heal, why did you not do it with her? Why don't all women have that ability then? They mentioned that the ancestors come when you really need them. When the child was born deaf, she didn't need you then? When her leg had to get amputated through the accident, she didn't need them then? When her mom died, the child didn't need her mother then? What are we really talking about? We need to be very clear on what the limitations are, the explanation of these powers, because it just feels like they threw shit in just for the sake of throwing it in. It's not like a superstitious thing. We actually visibly seeing people use these powers, so we know they exist because they've shown them, and the bird goes back to life, and they set the bird free. But yet, oh, but it gets worse. Then for all the scenes with the grandmother and the grandfather, apparently they split up at some point, possibly after the loss of their daughter, and we see that these old people flirting with each other the entire time, and nothing ever comes of it. The grandfather's just like, oh, I kept your sewing machine for you, and blah, blah, blah. He's always flirting with her, trying to get her into bed, and she's always like, stop it, I don't want to be with you anymore, but I'm gonna flirt and keep you on a string so you can keep doing what I want. Kingpin also befriends the grandmother not knowing who he is. How do you not know? Anyway, whatever. So Kingpin's guys are at the fair. They're all setting up something. And then the main character, whose name I forgot again, sees the woodpecker. And Biscuit tells her that grandmother and Bonnie are missing. And because the woodpecker's there, that's a sign. So she runs inside. Do neighbors not see people doing this? Whatever. And then she stops in her tracks and sees her mother standing there. An apparition of her mother, rather. And the suit that her grandmother stitched behind her. So she's like, Mama, and I'm supposed to care about this, but I don't. And the mother's like, you've been really hurting, huh? Really? You think? I mean, it's been a pretty long time, Ma. You're waiting 20 years later to notice? So mother does her freaking vagina finger cross thing, and she senses the hurt and blah, blah, blah. She says you aren't alone. Actually, she was, though. She was. You waited for her to lose you and then latch on to this person that is not good for her, a mafia boss, for her father to die, but she isn't alone. Okay. But she says that the ancestors are a part of you because we echo through you, and they have to put the word echo in there so that the show's title can make sense. And then she's like, I don't know what was the point of even, the mother's not really there, so why did she bring her back here just to bring her back? I don't understand. This whole show is just unraveling. So the mother says, now it's time for the pain to go away. You've just now decided that, you piece of shit. She said, I cannot. Oh. She says, I will help you. Because the daughter's like, how do I make it go away? You couldn't help her before. Like, so the mother says you come from a very long line of special women. And now we have it confirmed that apparently only women have these powers. Again, that makes no freaking sense because they would have been, never mind. Freaking A, bro. And it says they have carried the fire. They were the protectors of their people. And they fought for their family, so you gotta fight for your family too. Even though I wasn't there for you, but because the family needs you now I want to use you to protect them because, yeah, I can't actually do it because I'm not a physical manifestation. With all due respect, I feel like half these characters are probably just high as fuck. So she starts telling her all the different types of people that she has. Cunning, the sharpshooter, who actually became like that because she got powers. She didn't work for it by any skill. It was just given to her. There was no accident that happened. It was just given to her, just bequeathed to her. There was nothing that any of these characters had to actually lose in order to get these powers. They were just given. So she tells her all the stuff she has, ferocity, love, and all of it's infused into the suit. They're all strung together so you can remember who you are. The seams mean we're all connected, but we actually can't do jack unless the plot needs us to. So some music starts playing and they show the suit, and now she feels as though all the pain is now gone. All the 20-something years I've carried pain, all the decisions I've made that put my family in danger, that's just gonna go away now. I'm a whole new person. At the fair, I don't know what she's doing marching along with people. Okay. So the uncle tells Biscuit that the Hulos I'm guessing it's a bad word for white men. I don't know. Yeah, they're up to something and he needs weapons. And he says he has something even better. Better than a weapon? So superpowers? Because I imagine anything that you would use outside of that would be a weapon. You know, an object that you can use to hurt someone else. For which anything falls into that category. So main character goes inside and Kingpin feels all hurt. She keeps having opportunities to kill him, but she doesn't. And we understand why. He's like, oh, well, wave my hand. Ooh, look, the lights come on when we wave our hand. What, does he make the lights come on when he waves his finger? Dramatic revelation. Bonnie and Grandma are being held hostage. Bonnie translates what happens, and Kingpin says that you brought this upon yourself. She explains why she's choosing her family over him, because they're blood and her family needs her. He says, good, now I know how much it'll hurt when I kill the rest of your family the way I killed your dad. And we spent this entire time setting this person up with nothing else but his love for her, for it to be revealed that he actually doesn't care about hurting her family because he's hurt by, like, the whole thing could have actually made sense if they actually developed the character a little bit better, but it feels like they just kind of forced this whole thing in. It feels like a caricature of something else. I'm not really sure, I can't really put my nose on it, but it's so bombastic and contrived and mustache twirly that I cannot take it seriously. This felt like something that should have been scrapped and stayed in the garbage. So then, the music starts to swell as she starts seeing a montage of her mother and her ancestors. And then she's like, you know what? My ancestors are standing behind me. And we're all holding hands or not. This is so fucking ridiculous. Oh my God. And then I shit you not. I shit you not. I feel like I'm losing my sanity over here. I swear to God. It just evolves into sheer madness from here on out. So, the main character is like, the ancestors are with me, and then she, like, does something with her hands, and then now Bonnie and her grandmother... Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, God. Take the case and give me the pillow. Jesus Christ. This is so ridiculous. Who did a fucking teletub of cocaine before they wrote the script? Oh, man. This has to be comedy. This has to be comedy. What the fuck? Let me watch this again. This shit is so wild. Oh, and then the grandma and Bonnie start beating up the hitman. And then, remember when Biscuit said that he has something better than a weapon? He spawns a monster truck. He drives it over Fisk's fans. I don't know where he got the monster truck from. Why did the Choctaw powers, why don't they help the men of the family either when they're in danger, when they're the life takers that protect the women? What? So then, this guy's like, oh no, someone's aiming a gun at me. And then he, like, dies. And then the firework, I guess the missile turns into a firework, and then the one Native American host guy is like... So the grandma and everyone's like, oh, look at you, Kingpin. We have the ancestors on our side. Oh my freaking frog legs. And then she, like, uses the freaking healing vagina fingers, and then she puts her fingers on his face. She goes inside his mind, because that's now a power as well. We don't even know what the ancestors' powers really are. They're just there for when it's needed. It's like a 4-year-old is writing this and making it up as they go along. And this part's supposed to be cute because the wall's caving in. This is from his childhood where his father is beating the crap out of his mother. And she's like, let the pain go, uncle. You're my uncle. And this is supposed to be sweet. And it would have been a sweet scene if the entirety of this package wasn't so oil dripping ridiculous. So all his memories and stuff, he doesn't want to let go. And he's like, leave me alone. I'm not who you want me to be. And he's like, what did you do to me? How could you? And instead of killing her, I guess, like, I guess he doesn't want to kill her because he still loves her and all that shit, right? So he leaves before the cops get here. And then happily ever after, we see that mom had healed the bird and let it go. Again, couldn't heal her deafness, whatever. And I don't want to hear that bullshit about, oh, deaf is not a problem. Okay, shut the fuck up. So they're all having family dinner or lunch, and she decides to join the family. Look at me. What in the world is she wearing? Why is she bursting out of her clothes? Like, her look changes so often with this. Did they? Never mind. It's not important. So they're happy and everything is fine now. She's back with the family, and while music plays in the background, the show ends with the lyrics of "We Remain." I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I cannot take this seriously. I wasn't even trying to take it seriously, but imagine taking something not seriously and then being like 500 levels below that. That's how I feel about this. This feels like something that the Asylum made when they were trying to stretch out into drama. This is worse than those Hallmarky movies that my dad likes that make absolutely no sense. What even was this? Now I understand what people are talking about. I thought I was ready to be like, I don't know what people are talking about. I mean, I'm not ever gonna insult people for what they like or don't like. I believe if people genuinely like something or don't like something, they genuinely like it or don't like it. That's okay. But me personally, when it started, I was like, I'm not really sure what there is to bitch about. It's kind of a decent concept, and then it just completely fell apart. Okay, so the power thing did not need to be a thing. It's either you were going to give her Native American powers or badass assassin powers. You cannot give her both. Imagine having Deadpool. Okay, he has the healing ability, which makes him kind of, that fits with the character. But imagine giving him the healing ability, right, the regenerative ability, and then on top of all of that, giving him whatever power his ancestors decides he needs to get him out of situations. And then on top of that, giving him an engineering prowess to be able to make weapons out of anything. Do you see how annoying that would get after a while? It's just overkill. For what reason? So they can feel special? Like, I just don't understand what the point of this was. What was even the point of releasing this? Wow. I had to actually take a break while editing this because I got bored out of my mind. I was like, damn, I need to go to sleep. This is freaking narcotic over here. Like, the only saving grace is that I watched this on like 2.2 speed, and that's what made me not go insane, because I don't think I would have been able to without doing so. Anyway, that's my honest review of this piece of shit show. I will walk away from this feeling annoyed, and then I will forget it. And it will echo into the nothingness of the catalog of archived, useless pieces of information that I've ever discovered in my life, and it will stay there and become dust. Thanks so much for watching. If this has been Ulterior, you ask, we answer.